In this video, I will be showing you guys the steps on how to put an IsoBlue 2.0 together. First, install the Apollos computer module onto the Xora motherboard. Flip the board over. We will install the SSD onto the mSATA port. We can also install the cellular module onto the mini PCIe port. Next, we will install the SIM card onto the SIM card slot. Make sure you have a data plan properly set up. We will then insert the RTC battery onto the RTC battery slot. We will then insert the micro SD card that's preloaded with the IsoBlue's flashable image onto the micro SD card slot. Finally, we will insert the always-on jumper onto the always-on header pins. You can have the always-on jumper be open like this, so that your unit will not be always turned on after you plug in the barrel connector. We will install the connector cables onto the first and second slots, which stands for the main and the diversity antennas. For the mounting plate, have a set of set screws inserted onto the mounting plate. Next, we will install the standoffs. Now we can mount our IsoBlue unit onto the mounting plate. Now we will insert the IsoBus female port onto the enclosure. Use the hex nut and washer to tighten the connection. Next, we will insert the USB adapter onto the enclosure. First, you need to use the supplied rubber seal and put it onto the USB adapter like this. Next, you will insert the USB adapter onto the enclosure. Use the hex nut to tighten the connection. Now we will insert the SMA connector onto the enclosure. Then you will first insert the washer onto the SMA connector, and then insert the hex nut for further tighten the connection. After the SMA connectors are tightened, we can install the male-to-male SMA interconnectors onto each of these SMA connectors. Now we will mount the plate as well as all the motherboard and its installed components onto the enclosure. You need to make sure that the power and ground connections will be underneath the plate. Use screws to tighten. Finally, we will connect everything together. We can first connect the power connector to the barrel connector on the motherboard. We will then connect the UFL to SMA connector onto the SMA interconnector that we installed. We will then use a swivel type of USB interconnector and insert it onto one of the USB ports on the motherboard. We will then use a USB extension cable to connect one end to the swivel interconnector and the other end to the USB adapter that we have. Finally, we will connect the custom cables that we made from another video and then insert it onto the CAN headers on the motherboard. Make sure the pin configurations match the pin header configurations on the motherboard. Now we will install the external hardware components onto the enclosure. We can first install the external antennas. Make sure the antennas are in upright positions after installation. In the next video, I will show you the flashing instructions as well as the software configurations on properly setting up an IsoBlue 2.0.